What's up? This is O. Welcome to CLO Talks. Tonight we're having just a general discussion. I want to pop on here real quick because I had something I wanted to get out and kind of lay out there. And one of the topics that I had weeks back, and I always take notes if I can't get to a video right away. Trust me, if I'm not getting the videos, because I've either got personal things I'm handling in my life or projects or something going on. But I wrote down this topic of, why I started a YouTube channel. And this is going to parlay into some of the recent things that have happened to me that have been really great. But there's some things I want to discuss around it. Long story short, I'll expand in other videos on details of how I left public education. I spent about, actually over a decade in public education, and sometimes there's politics in HR hiring process and things of that nature. So long story short, me and my superiors, which is, people in charge, had differences of vantage point and way dispensation of certain things went down. Needless to say, it led to my departure and me drawn out of that career. So it didn't happen in the most convenient time. Like I said, if you ever left a job, had to resign from a job or get fired from a job, you can't just plan for it all the time. Some things you can prevent, some things you can't. And it was one of those things where it was just inevitable because me, I'm the type of person, I'm gonna stand on what I believe on, regardless of if I'm gonna lose everything or gain everything from it. If I'm gonna die on the hill, I'm dying on the hill. And that's just a flaw, a blessing and a curse in such a way. So I don't bend the knee. And that's just a part of how I was raised and part of my personality. And if you're right about something and you really believe in something, you have to stand on it. And so it was one of those things. I felt like the way I was being evaluated wasn't accurate, especially a lot of the work that I put in. I was the type of worker that would not only put in the hours that was intended, I would put in overtime. I would do extracurricular and all sorts of stuff. But not to get to deviate from the topic, I've always had a passion for what I learned because what I learned helped me survive in life. And that's why when I left, even though it was intimidating, and I'll just let you know out there, it can be intimidating that not having any footing under you. So to make a long story short, I had some resources I had saved, but I made some decisions to basically, long story short, make wise investments and decisions along the way while I was teaching. That way I knew, because eventually I kind of knew I was going to leave it. So long story short, what had transpired was that I had to figure out a way to make money. And along that process, YouTube came into the picture. So a lot of people think that you have to have AdSense revenue in order to monetize your channel, and that's not the case. You can actually, there's several different ways to utilize your channel to bring sales and revenue to yourself. And that was the main start of CLO Academy. I had a passion for teaching. I had information that people wanted to know, and also that wasn't commonplace in public school or what I had saw. So I decided to fill that gap and even challenge myself in things I didn't know. I tried welding for the first time. I learned about casting for the first time. So there's a lot of things that I learned even in just building this set right here. I learned how to use CNC machines, laser cutters, and all sorts of stuff. And, growing up, I had practical skills, but you have to really garnish and really invest love and attention into something for it to grow and you to get better at it, right? So not to ramble on and just say everything I want to say, but needless to say, that was the inspiration behind the GoFundMe, and this is where I'm getting at. So in that dispensation, I thought to myself, while I'm doing X, Y, and Z to make money for myself, and I'm able to sustain myself by doing these things, even like sales in different areas and whatnot, and I'll talk about that. Sometimes you got to put that grind in, like literally A work week for me is 1 day a week that the average person would consider a work day, meaning the actual foot, leg, and work and packaging stuff and stuff like that. That's only 1 day for me. But the other days consist of planning, getting ideas down, doing data entry type things, and getting certain things done for my business in order to create sales, in order to generate revenue for myself, which became my full-time living, which is what we're doing right now and what I'm discussing with you right now. It may seem like just talking on a camera on a social media platform, but it's much deeper than that. And you wouldn't believe how you could take something you're passionate about or skills that you like, or that's something that you're good at, and actually be able to make a living from it. And that's the type of things I want to create courses with, and it will be coming up soon. So long story short, I said, it's cool to do the digital thing, and it's very important to do the digital thing. But eventually I wanted a facility, an in-person place where people can go either to get creative with their social media. They could create inventions and just build even living structures like tiny homes and houses. And, you got to start somewhere. So I can't have everything at once. Needless to say, I created a GoFundMe in the process. Now, through the process of creating this GoFundMe, which is, and I'll leave information in the description or somewhere in the video, talks about a learning facility where people can learn and grow and can be creative and do art, design, engineering. And if you read the GoFundMe, it'll give you a description. But I had talked about this topic before I left to other peers of mine and other teachers and let them know, hey, you're the school, the students and the teachers make the school. And you want to think about owning and having a stake in your intellectual property. Long story short, IPs just mean things you create, things you can monetize, things that you own. Could be music, could be stories, could be a secret recipe. It's a various amount of things that you own that you have created. And a lot of people don't understand that. So your IPs make money for you. And for example, an earned dollar, when you're going in and working and you're grinding and you're putting in hours, that's your sweat equity. You have to keep doing that to keep the money coming in. So in other words, if you're a teacher, for example, you have to write your lesson plans. You have to go to meetings. You have to call parents. You have to go into work. You have to set up your classroom, and it just goes on and on and on. Grade papers and everything. So that is your trading your time for money. But what creating IPs for a teacher will look like is writing a book that the classroom uses, or you creating some sort of learning technique, and that's used across the district, or you write an entire curriculum that's implemented across the state. That is an intellectual property. That is money that makes itself. And most teachers, what blew my mind was almost no teacher thought this way. And I wanted to start getting the students thinking that way. How could you, if you like something, how could you earn a stake in what you like? And so that was the main premise behind the Learning Center and the GoFundMe. Long story short, it's been 2 years since I had the GoFundMe up and got very little support on the GoFundMe. Matter of fact, it was only 3 donations, and one of them I put in. And most of the donations I got were outside of the GoFundMe. So if somebody gave me something or donated to the cause, it was mainly outside of GoFundMe. Long story short, recently I've had a generous donation, and I want to say thank you very much. If you have a chance to watch this video, I really appreciate the donation. And I wanted to talk about something about when that happened. So it had been 2 years before any outside donations came to that GoFundMe. And the point of what I'm saying is, and just before the donation came in, I thought to myself, I said, hey, I've been out of teaching 4 years, and I've been able to take care of myself without having to clock in or do anything, and quote unquote working 1 day out the week, meaning the average work day that you would think would look like a work day for my business, 1 day out of the week, 4 days out of the month, and making a little over half of what I used to make as a teacher just in those 4 days. And the other consistency of the week is what I want to do, which is projects, which is online digital stuff. And I can get into that more in my courses on how to generate revenue before you even get monetized on YouTube, or how to monetize your channel without AdSense revenue. So, how to get partnered in the YouTube partner, etc. But there had been no donations for 2 whole years. And, I thought to myself, I said, hey, well, I'm making all this money, and I'm taking care of me. I'm taking care of my personal expenses without sacrificing stress and time. And I've learned how to do that consistently. Why don't I just forget this project and just go live on my merry life? Go travel, wake up, do the projects I love to do, go where I want to go, eat what I want to eat, do what I want to do, leave when I want to leave, and go where I want to go. Why not just do that? And I just set this project on the back burner and just forget about it. And as soon as I thought about doing that, the donations came in. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, if the public doesn't want it, and public school is okay, and mediocrity is okay, and whatever standard is okay, even though there's a lot going on, and I want to get into that, with the new administration and public Department of Ed. And I've already done videos on my Ed channel. You can check them out. I'll leave them somewhere up here. But the main point of what I'm saying is things are changing, and the guard is changing, and how education will look like in the future is changing, but you got to get in front of it. And I already knew there was a lot of lack within the public school. Excuse me. There was a lot of lack within the public school, and a lot of gaps in the public school that I intended to fill in a small capacity. And the donations came in, and I prayed about it. I talked to God about it. I was like, why? I don't want the stress. I don't want the liability. I know what it's like coming from that. And when you're coming from teaching, you have no personal life. And I think that I said to myself, well, I was really passionate, and I'm really digging on my YouTube channel. I'm putting in these projects. I'm getting positive responses. I'm figuring out the groove, because certain videos will hit and get really high views, and the other videos will flop. But certain videos that I really enjoy sometimes flop a little bit. And in the videos that I thought that wouldn't get any views, they just blow up, get tens, thousands of views, 13,000 views, and, by any means, some people get 50,000 views, 1,000,000 views. And I'm not necessarily looking for views per se. What I'm looking for is to make sure the content is meaningful and that is useful to the viewer, and that it makes an impact in their life. And so, not to beat around the bush or confuddle a lot of ideas, but what I'm saying is, in my head, I had already made the decision to just enjoy my life and forget about the community outreach, because I had put in my time already. I put in 10 years of my time doing that. And the pay, guys, doesn't equal how much you put in now. You can be the type of teacher to skate and just do the bare minimum, show up and go home, and you might can skate by, but I could never do that. I got to give 110%, give my best product and in anything that I do. That's just me. So long story short, I want to put it in terms you can understand, is that I had already decided in my head, well, screw the project, and why stress about it? I could just enjoy my life and keep doing what I've already been doing for myself. God said, no, I'm going to use you. And this is the craziest part about the whole thing. Craziest part about the whole thing is I already know what doing that before I started it, I already knew what that project was going to require, and I didn't understand why I had the passion to do it. And sometimes that's what it is. It's not your decision. It's not your decision. It's God's decision to use you in a certain type of way. And there is a need for certain facilities and places and options for, and there was a serious need at that time because a lot of kids were being forced to learn things that had nothing to do with education at all, and had to be forced to learn these things that felt like indoctrination, that felt like an infringement to infringe on a person's personal beliefs and thought processes. In any public school that will force a belief or ideology on you is not the place you want to be. And it hurt me. I didn't believe in it. And I saw students go through it. These past couple years, even if medically you didn't believe in the jab, so to speak, you were scrutinized if you didn't believe it. Matter of fact, there was one job that I applied for just after getting out of public school, paid about $80K a year. So I was making 25% more than what I was as a teacher. They required me to be V'd, and I didn't want to be V'd. No offense to anybody out there who wants to be V'd, but I didn't want to take the jab. That's just my personal decision. And I feel like working in a certain work environment, it shouldn't be determined. It should be determined, how well I do the job. And, I've in my life had natural immunity all my life. So, just because of my blood type and certain things, I rarely get sick. And I wasn't going to do it for when my mind said that's a lot of money, but I'm going to pass on it. So long story short, I had to take the hard knock direction and figure out how I was going to pay my bills, how I was going to put food on the table, and just take care of the people that I love. And that's where all this started. That's where the YouTube started. It started with career and being interested in a topic and wanting to share my vantage point on the topic. So with that being said, that's also how the inception of the GoFundMe and the Learning Academy came about. And I already knew how much work was going to be required to be put into it, and that it's a sacrifice. But there's a need. And sometimes when you have a sect of people that need a product or a facility or a place, and then you're willing to fill that gap, it's going to take work. So the way I see it, when the school opens or the learning center opens, I'll probably do 3 days out the week. And what I'm going to start doing is online courses on my channels. So I have one channel already partnered, and then one channel that's about to be partnered. So what I'm going to do is create memberships for my courses, and maybe once a week start off with simple topics, and maybe I do a round robin and kind of like do different subjects and see what you guys gravitate on and what you attach to, or if you have any questions about courses. Then I'll slow roll it, and then I'll start with a digital presence first. But main thing I want to get on here and not too much talk about my personal plans is I started this whole thing to create some way for me to share myself with the world, to let you guys know that it is possible to fulfill your dreams, and that sometimes your dreams is God inspired, and that it's going to require sometimes more work than you want to put in, and it's going to sometimes be something that you have to sacrifice on. And trust me, I wanted to put the Learning Academy on the back burner because it wasn't the immediate response, but then I realized I'm not ready for the school. So it's going to take building. I'm going to have to build this platform a little bit more. And then once all the lessons and everything are together, then by the time everything is together, I believe everything will fall into place how it's supposed to. And that's what I want to say on this video. I want to say independent education can look how you want it to look. It can be creative and unique. It can be innovative and something new. And it doesn't have to be the same standard thing that is forced us to be taught in a lot of these public schools. And so that's what I wanted to offer. But yeah, I came on to really say, the point while I'm saying all this, I know I'm probably all over the place because I'm actually a little tired tonight. But, you know, I got to do what I got to do. This is part of my job. So I want to say that sometimes you might want to throw in the towel, but there's a higher purpose. Even if it's outside of you, you might be the only person for the job. And sometimes there was a saying, and you see it in a lot of movies, like you look left and you look right, and you're looking for a hero, and come to find out you have to be the one. And all that means is you do the best you can do with what God gave you. And that's different for everybody out there. And for me, it's using what God gave me. And I tell you this, I said, you know, everything that I have, you use it. It's for you. And that's why I'm so pressed on every skill that I learn. It's not that I know everything at the time. I'll say, hey, I'll look at that and I'll be like, let me try it. Let me try it. And come to find out, you know, God blesses me to do it, you know, and it's just a matter of faith. Faith without works is dead. And sometimes you just got to try, even if you fail at it. And I did a video about skateboarding, and that's one of those perseverance things. You got to keep trying. And you know, really, I came on to say thank you to the donors out there who donated to the Academy. And yeah, it will become a reality in due time and in the proper time. And to encourage you guys out there, sometimes it's not by what you see, it's by the faith that you have. And you know, I want to say I really appreciate anybody watching this video. And if you would like to support the Academy, I'll leave a link of the video in the description. And if you catch me on IG, you can just DM me or visit my YouTube channel and subscribe. Also, I forgot to mention, like I say, every video I'm going to show a product. This is my new CLO Pixel Gamers hoodie, and I also have sweatshirts in black and some other colors. But you will see the link available probably in the next few days, and you can order them. You know, I hand press them myself, and guys, order them up. They're really sleek, nice. This is with the main CLO mascot logo, and I also have one with the full gamer logo. But guys, I appreciate you. If you have any questions in the comments, let me know. If you have any questions about courses and what I teach, basically graphic design stuff, 3D modeling stuff, you know, crafting, engineering, manufacturing stuff. Considering doing welding. I'm not like expert on that, but I weld good enough. And yeah, I just like to have fun, guys. So and also, if you want to know more about IPs, definitely hit me up and we could talk about it. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in. And I will see you on the next video, and stay motivated, stay encouraged. I'll check you out on the next video. Peace.